Welcome to The Connector, where we connect North Carolina to ideas and North Carolinians to each other. This podcast series is from the Institute for Emerging Issues at North Carolina State University. And now to the conversation.
Welcome everyone to The Connector. I'm your host, Sarah Hall, Director of the Institute for Emerging Issues at North Carolina State University. As we wrap up our series on workforce development, today we're focusing on workforce opportunities for a group we haven't talked about yet, adult learners. There have been exciting announcements recently from the community college system that will make job training more accessible to those seeking to learn in-demand skills. To learn more about what these announcements mean for the future of our workforce, I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Dr. Andrew Gardner, Associate Vice President of Workforce Strategies with the North Carolina Community College System. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Oh, pleasure's all mine, Sarah. I appreciate the opportunity.
Great. So, Andrew, you are no stranger to IEI. We've been very fortunate to have you involved in our work of late with our energy program as part of our 2025 Emerging Issues Forum, and you are currently on our Water Infrastructure Advisory Council for our 2026 forum. So thank you very much for all of that investment of your time and thought leadership. Tell us a little bit about your background and work at the North Carolina Community College System.
Yeah, so I've been in this particular role with the North Carolina Community College System for about 2.5 years, and it's a great time to be in workforce, so I have the right seat at the table. Prior to that, I spent about a decade at Montgomery Community College as the Dean of Workforce. So workforce has been in my DNA and blood for a while now, and so look forward to continue to promote these programs and help our 58 community colleges accelerate workforce training across the state.
Great. Well, two significant announcements were made by your team earlier this summer. The first was that a new federal law is expanding access to short-term job training for North Carolinians by expanding workforce Pell Grant coverage to these programs. This is significant news for individuals seeking short-term job training in in-demand careers. So what's the next step in the process, and how does this fit into the work your team is doing?
The first next step is just for us to pinch ourselves to let us know that it really happened, because this has been a dream for a number of years, and so it's finally here. So now we have the responsibility to operationalize this. So just a quick background about Workforce Pell for those that may not be as familiar with this legislation. So in July of this past year, it was passed. And what this does is give financial aid resources to those individuals in those short-term accelerated training that leads to a credential. It has to be between 150 hours and less than 600 hours and completed within 8 to 15 weeks. So again, fast track, accelerated, that's the term. But what it stands for is aligning skills that the employers need. And so you'll see skills are in high demand right now. And so this is a great tool to give students access to financial assistance to access and persist in their programs, because as we know in student journeys, it seems that financial barriers are one of the top things they encounter, even if it's a short-term training program, which they're very affordable, but there's just ancillary needs that occur outside of just tuition and fees that these funds can help individuals with. So the time is right. It aligns so well with our Propel NC business model that gives focus on those high demand, high wage programs, whether it's a traditional 2-year program or accelerated short-term training program that leads to a credential. So we're well positioned to really take this thing to the next level. From a federal standpoint, in the next couple months, they're still going through final rules and negotiation period. So that'll be helpful for us to give clearer guidance as we try to prepare and prep our 58 community colleges to be ready to hit the ground running once it happens. So in the next couple months, once those final rules are solidified, we'll be able to see if this is going to be a July 1st, 2026 launch as it's indicated in the law now, or if it's going to be a July 1st, 2027 ordeal. Either way, we know we'll be ready and can kind of lean in on some of the past work that we've done across the state when it comes to identifying credentials of value. And just hats off to the My Future NC team and the NC Workforce Credential Advisory Council, setting us up with having a robust list of high value credentials, so we at least have a starting point to see what we recognize as high quality credentials. So I'll overuse the term well positioned. We're well positioned in North Carolina.
Wonderful. So as a follow-up question, so we talked about what those in-demand, skills of value are. How do we determine what an in-demand career is, or what an in-demand job is? Who makes that decision?
Yeah, so a lot of times we lean on our partners with NC Works, and they have a robust data system that we use to star jobs and kind of see what's in demand across the state and in the regions. So leaning on that federal labor market data. And then, of course, the wages go hand in hand with that to see that it's above $40,000 a year as far as high value, high wage. And then, of course, lean into the labor market demands there with NC Commerce and what they put out.
Wonderful. Thank you for that context. So what are some examples of short-term job training programs that are available at our community colleges, and what are some success stories that you've heard come from those programs?
Yeah, the top two I'll tout. In the spirit of our last conversation about energy, I definitely have to lift up the electrical lineman program. This is a very valuable program across the state, and we have some great industry partners with our energy consortium, whether it's Duke Energy, Pike Electric, so on and so forth, with our great co-ops. We put together these accelerated programs that don't only prepare individuals to be electrical linemen, but we add additional credentials such as a CDL license so that they'll have stackable credentials to be successful on day one when they enter the workforce. So again, very high paying position in a short amount of time. And having that close relationship with the industry, they know what kind of student they're getting. And a lot of times, we'll work with them to have the part-time instructors involved with the training of these programs. So we have several success stories in there where individuals go from zero experience to getting a $40,000 plus year job in no time at all with the electrical lineman program. So that's been super successful. The other one is our truck driving program. There's been immense investment in our truck driving program through partnerships like the Truckers Association, where we allow individuals to get some money to pay for the instructors because instructors are hard to come by when you're competing with industry and the amount of money they can get paid. So allowing those instructors to come in and get more of the students in the pipeline to be truck drivers, that's been really helpful, and folks have been able to move through the workforce system quickly there. A lot of times we do run into the hurdles of trying to get on board with no experience. That has a little more of a challenge getting folks there, but with the local truck drivers, we seem to have a lot more success of getting them quickly employed in there. But it's been a tremendous program. Those are high value, high demands, moving North Carolina forward.
Thank you, Andrew. So very helpful to learn a little bit more about those programs. And, we just had our Emerging Issues Forum on energy, and workforce was one of those key themes that we talked about. So great to hear about the lineman program. The second announcement, I mentioned that there were two. So the second announcement was about the expansion of the short-term workforce development grants to include registered apprentices who are actively participating in a registered apprenticeship. And are enrolled in workforce continuing education courses. So what are the next steps, and how will this impact apprentices in these programs?
Yeah, so across the state, we have a bold goal of doubling the number of apprentices we have across the state, and we think this is going to be a tool to help accelerate that. It does two things. One, it allows individuals that may not have access to scholarship dollars to now leverage that and get into an apprenticeship program. It allows more employers to run their related instruction through the community colleges, whereas in the past they may have completed the related instruction in-house. So this allows the community colleges to be that trainer of choice, which we like to think we always are, but it's not always the case. So that enhances our employer relationship. So as far as next steps, we're going to just continue marketing and advertising this opportunity to both students and employers about the value of apprenticeship and how they can access these funds, in addition to other funding resources out there to help promote, expand, and accelerate in this space.
Wonderful. So, so we talked about these two funding opportunities, and I'm curious your thoughts on how they're going to help advance our state schools' progress towards, you mentioned My Future NC, but towards that statewide educational attainment goal.
Yeah, the great thing is all these programs we're talking about will lead to a credential of value that is recognized. People now, they are lifelong learners more than ever. People want to get a skill in no time at all. So these programs really speak to those individuals that are trying to ramp up their skill set quickly, whether they're entering the workforce or they're already in the workforce and they need to upskill to a new skill. Because in the AI era, let's say individuals are going to constantly having to adapt and transform into the workforce of not only today but tomorrow. So again, we're here to support those lifelong learners, and this is a credentialing tool that will help individuals get that and meet our mark and exceed our goal of 2 million by 2030.
I love it. So we talked about, some of the work happening. We're big fans, by the way, here at IEI of community colleges. In fact, we're hosting February's Future Forward Water Forum at 3 community colleges across the state, specifically because of the great infrastructure workforce development that's happening there. I just want to open it up. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about the work your team is doing across the state?
Yeah, there's a couple things I would like to brag on. And again, you can only brag when you have great partners and again, a collaborative effort. So 2 things I'm going to highlight is one, we've been extremely successful with our high cost healthcare programs. We received special legislative funding in the tune of $55 million to expand healthcare courses and programs through startup and expansion funds. And this has been what some individuals refer to it as a godsend to jumpstart some of these high demand healthcare programs. And so that's been really helpful in expanding that talent pipeline across the state. So that's been something we're looking to replicate in other areas if we're so beneficial, if we're beneficial enough to get some funding behind that, where we can do some seed money start for some other programs such as maybe advanced manufacturing, maybe water or energy. In those sectors, we can use those funds to either start or expand some workforce training programs. And so that's been really successful. The other thing is we've had a multitude of programs that have embedded success coaches into program areas. One of the things you all may have heard across the state is our Boost program. And one of the core pillars of that is ensuring that there's a success coach, academic coach along the way that can help that student not only just enter that program, but succeed and navigate through that and have that high retention rate and successful completion. So we've embedded numerous success coaches across our programs and really think that's a key ingredient for success. I alluded to AI earlier. It's going to be a great tool to help individuals be successful in the workplace, but that human touch, that human perspective, such as a success coach, is really needed and going to help those individuals grow in the workforce.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we're talking about adult learners, and adult learners have different pathways, right? So they may have already been, they might have already tried community college before and not been able to complete it. And so, one of the things I've learned from our partners, like at the Belk Center here at NC State and others, is really supporting adult learners have different needs. And I think the idea of a success coach to be able to provide sort of those, supports really are going to go a long way to getting adult learners into important programs or getting them back to completion. So anything else you want to share, Andrew?
We just are happy to be at the table anytime there's workforce involved. We know that with our system being 58 strong, being the hub in many communities, we think we're well positioned to help build back Western North Carolina and beyond, and just keep inviting us to the table. And we're here to come with solutions and deliver.
Well, thank you. And we heard you say that. Keep inviting you to the table. So I have a feeling we'll be inviting you to some other work at IEI in the future too, Andrew. So once again, I want to thank our guest, Dr. Andrew Gardner, Associate Vice President of Workforce Strategies with the North Carolina Community College System, for joining us today. To learn more about the opportunities at your local community college, visit nccommunitycolleges.edu. Until next time, let's all stay connected.
This has been a presentation from the Institute for Emerging Issues at North Carolina State University. To learn more, please visit us at emergingissues.org.